Good day everyone, this is Lone Eagle 112358. Today's video is the Mandela effect and this changes I've seen in Utah and Arizona. Now, if you've seen my other videos, you know I love the West Coast. I'm always studying it, so you're going to see a lot of my videos on the West Coast and the states on the West Coast. I've noticed huge changes in both these states I've outlined here in red, and I'm going to go over them quickly. Not fast, I'm not going to skip anything, but hastily, promptly. So, why I remember these features these landmarks I'm about to describe so vividly is because before I went out to the West Coast and traveled there, I watched the documentary The Donner Party, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you might have heard of this or have heard of this. It's just that party that crossed the Wild West back in the day before it was established and what they had to go through. And a big part of it was going through Utah. And at the time, Utah was undiscovered, I think. There was no Salt Lake City there. It was just for them, hell. Okay, so what I remember is them entering the northern part of Utah, so right where this cursor is, and immediately come in contact with this terrain, which is in the middle of Utah. I'm not sure if it's Wasatch Range I'm trying to pronounce that properly. If I'm butchering it up, I apologize. I'm not sure if that's the terrain, the range they came in contact with first, but let's pretend this Wasatch Range was right here. Okay, so that's the first thing. And then the second thing is this lake is shaped a lot different than the lake I remember. This lake is shaped like a dagger, and same with the Great Salt Lake Desert. It's all elongated and narrow and jaggedy. These two features were never like that. The lake and the Salt Lake Desert were never like that. The idea is right. There was this and then that, but they were shaped differently. The lake was more round. It was rounder, and so was the Salt Lake Desert. It was rounder too. And I remember there being two bodies of salt lakes that were pretty predominant. So what happens? The Donner Party came in. They immediately hit this mountain range. They had to go through it. It wasn't fun for them. And then they hit a safe spot where the present day Salt Lake City would be nestled right underneath the lake. They would chill there for a while, get their things in order, and then they would immediately head out. And they would come out from underneath the lake and then hit the desert, the top part of the desert. I remember there was two sections of the desert, and that's when they were bombed. Like, they lost a lot of oxen. They had to leave some carriages behind. It wasn't a good trip for them. It took them like 2 days or something. They made it out, and then they had to fight, go through this terrain. And I'll just make a quick side note right here. Like all this right here. These mountain ranges are different. They should be up higher, a little bit more, and a little bit more scattered. And especially here, they should be up more. And there should be more of these Salt Lake deserts, or just desert areas around here in Dead Valley more. So back to here, when I already drew some things and ideas where I think things used to be. So let's start with the lake. Well, not used to be, but what they used to look like. The lake was probably like this. Alright, and then you had Salt Lake City nestled beside it in the corner of it, like that. And I'm not trying to be precise, I'm just trying to get that area. And then that was one of the lakes, the desert lakes, and this was one of the other ones. I just remember it being a really huge area, and in the middle would be these aqua things, right here. See this? See all these squares what they're doing. I don't know exactly what they're doing. I'm gonna think this is a reservoir or something, or it's just pure salt. I have no idea. Sorry. Those used to be all in between here, and there's a lot of them, and people would use that road to drive through. Like they would drive right at the bottom part of this lake. I remember that because I used to spend a couple hours just researching that whole area. And this whole area right here, everything that I've encircled was probably right here. So they hit the terrain, they came out through the mountains here that were here, and then they hit Salt Lake City, but back then it was just land, like there was no city there. They rested for a bit and then they took off, and then they immediately hit the desert, lost a lot of their supplies and oxen, and then they made it out into this terrain and had to sally forth. I mean, God rest their souls, man. That was hell for them. So I just remember that. I remember this clearly. This, here, let's get rid of all this stuff. What I'm seeing now, it's not the same. They would have had a different voyage. Like they still would have hit the desert, but the journey would have been different because they probably would have went this way first, and I would have seen the map a little bit different. I didn't pull it up for this talk, for this video, but I'm gonna look into that Donner Party voyage, you know, because I remember that terrain. I remember there's a lake over here called the Donner Lake. Let's just one shot this, see if this is it. No. One more one shot. Let's see if I can one shot this. Donner Lake. Oh, look at that. Eagle. Synchronicity. Anyway. So that's what I remember of Utah because of the Donner Party. Alright, so, and all this used to be over here in that mountain range. Like Wasatch Range was probably right here. Something like that. So they came in down the range, mountain range, boom, hit the city, which was right here, boat, through the desert. And then even on the other side of the desert of Utah were these other little mountain ranges. They were inside, but there's none in there now. Not really, not on this side. Anyway, so let's check out. So I'm going to assume because of all this mountain range is now here, all this changed as well. Like just, it's all messed up. I can't say anything for all this up here. Like you'd have to live there to know, and it's a very desolate place. So I doubt many can remember unless they really voyaged there. So my other beef with Utah is, like I said, for those of you, I made another video that I traveled to Page. Well, we traveled to Page, which is right beside the Grand Canyon. Sorry, I'm moving the screen a lot. It's probably choppy on the video. I'll try and slow down on that. We traveled to Page. We rented a an RV, and we stayed here at the Waweep, and yeah, right in here. We parked here. Now I'm very observant. I would have noticed this Utah border. It's one of these lines here. Let me turn off one of these borders. I'm on the maps all the time. When we were driving throughout the state of Colorado and Utah, one of us was always on the maps, and I would have noticed this. This red line is the Utah and Arizona state border, which seems to be moving again because it was over running this way last time. Anyway, we parked here. I would have been like, babe, we gotta go check out this borderline. I'm gonna go just like the movies. Oh, I'm in Arizona. Oh, I'm in Utah. Oh, I'm in Arizona. I would have got a picture of both my feet, one standing in Utah, one standing in Arizona, or laying down through it. I would have did that. That's how I am. I'm goofy. You know, I'm a big child inside. And just a quick note, like that's why I froze for a bit. I didn't say anything a minute ago. This line was down here. It was further a couple weeks ago because I just remember it being closer to this, and that's just me. You know, only I could say that, and just have to take my word for it. But this the state line keeps moving, so that's the thing. I would have went there and checked this out. So this state line has moved. I have a feeling it was further north, more around the Zion Park area. I can't say though, so if any one of you guys know, please let me know. Please say something in the comments. But I know it wasn't like this, that's for sure. It was a little higher. I think it just missed all of these man-made Lake Powell. I think it just missed that. So, second part to this video would be mainly the Grand Canyon. It has gotten smaller. I'd say it's squished. I checked the length on it. It's the same length. It's around 250-ish, like from dam to dam, from J. Edgar Hoover to, well, the Hoover Dam to Glen Canyon Dam. It's about 250-ish, give or take. Kept getting different numbers, but I agree with that. From my reality, I hate saying that so much, but the difference is it's squished, and where it ends is like halfway through the state. I remember it ending right around here, but I'm gonna get into that. So the current, I'll close these. Current Colorado River right now is this red line that you see. Just drew right through the middle. The one I remember, and I've been here, is this blue line. It was just longer, okay? Like, it's still the same length. Like, it's still around 250-ish miles, 250-ish miles. It's just not as squished as this. Like, it still had, like, the old one has one bend, two bends, three major bends. So does this. One bend, two bend, three major bends. It was just elongated. The reason why I remember this is because when we drove from Denver through the mountains to Durango, and then from Durango to Monument Valley, I really wanted to go to Monument Valley. There was another way to get to the Grand Canyon, but I really wanted to go to Monument Valley because I just seen it in all the movies, and I saw it in Forrest Gump. I grew up with it, with Wile E. Coyote and the Road Runner. It's in my blood. I just had to go there, so I made sure that we went around from Durango, Colorado to Monument Valley, Utah. And it's the same road. Everything's the same, except, oh man, I really cornered myself in here. Oh no, I guess still. Sorry about that, guys. Oh no, that's not what I wanted. Borders, there we go. Okay, so what I remember about this trip was everything's the same. Came up, came down, went up, went down. But my beef with this is that when we went back up, it wasn't like right here, it was further back. And this mountain wasn't, well, it might have been there, I don't know, just pushed back a bit more, and then we jetted up further back more, and then came up, did this thing, then we came down. I know you guys just have to take my word for it. And then where this road connected with Arizona, it was more right here. Because remember, we had to come back down, then drive. I could show you guys the road. It's in here, I'm pretty sure. Let's go back to roads. It's just not going to make any sense. Like, this road getting the page. Everything was just pushed back further east. So like 163, I remember that. Route 163, just right here. This pin should be over here. That's what I'm saying. We came up through here, came down Monument Valley, had to drive ridiculous amounts of hours just to get the page to sleep. I remember it was getting dark. We were both like agitated with each other. We're like, give me the map, blah blah blah. Pass me the Gatorade, blah blah blah. I remember. I'm very visual. I remember it. So the Grand Canyon was squished like an organ. You know, like it's just squished. Let's close this stuff up. So old. That's the big difference that I've seen. I'm very observant. I wanted to go to the Grand Canyon so many times. Like since I was probably 10 when I first heard about it. I saw it on a documentary. I lost my mind. I'm like, gotta go there. Finally, 30 years later, I go there. Well, 20 years. But that's what I noticed. And here's the other thing, and these other markers I've got here, like Flagstaff. I remember I wanted to go to Flagstaff just for some reason. I was like, oh, we can maybe make it there, but we'd have to go down. I remember this part of the loop here, this dip. I remember it was right underneath Flagstaff. Like Flagstaff was right underneath that dip. I remember we had to go straight south. The train ride was straight north from Flagstaff, and you'd get to like Grand Canyon Village, which is right here. That's not the case anymore. Now you take the train and you do this. When I first saw that, I was just like, wow, that's whack. Like Flagstaff used to be right underneath the big bulb part here. Now it's not. It's not even. If you go straight north, it just misses the Grand Canyon, and that's insane. So that's the first thing I noticed about. Well, it's not the first thing, but it's a major thing I noticed. And same with Phoenix. Phoenix needs to be further north. Phoenix needs to be right around here. It's south. It's too far south. I just remember these things. I remember Flagstaff, Phoenix, and then same with Tucson. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Needs to be right around where Phoenix is now. You're a little too close, to the border down here. Needs to be a little bit up more. And that's it. How much damage did I do there? Very cool. If you guys live in these areas, been to these areas, know about it, worked in these areas, study these areas, watch documentaries on the Grand Canyon, know what I'm talking about, please let me know. I know these things are things that I've experienced, changes that I've seen, so I'm hoping to spark, things in your guys' mind that will help trigger other, things. That's just vitally important. Okay, where did I put those markers? There we go. So old. Let me know what you think. Thank you very much for listening. Yeah, that's it. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything here. And I drew these state borders, just so they could stick out. And if anything shifts, hopefully the state border the one I drew won't shift. Anyway, I've got lots of observations everywhere else. I was going to do a USA Part 2 video, but, that video is just too long, and, I'm still new to these videos. Still learning, so thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Happy holidays. Hope everything's going well with your families and your loved ones. Love your neighbor. I love you guys. Love yourselves. And tune in for more. I'm on winter vacation. I'm just cleaning my house and making videos. So I'm scanning the hell out of Google Earth with my free time. So I'm seeing a lot of differences in the world. But anyway, have a great day. Peace. No Nego 112358.